And it's really important that when you go in, the energy that you're bringing into the meeting is going to contribute to them feeling like they have, number one, their voice is heard, and number two, that they are part of the problem solving process, which opens them up to taking more responsibility. Your biggest opportunity to take responsibility for your choices and anything you've come to in terms of agreements is when you're in a part of making those agreements. If someone's dictating to you the rules, chances are you're going to try to break them and get around them.
Welcome to the bonus episode with Ginny Luther. I'm so excited for you guys to experience and understand just one of the many tools that Ginny helps coach parents on. In this bonus episode, she goes over how to organize a family meeting in your home, and it's not what you may expect. But this is an incredible way to get everyone in your family on the same team so that you don't have to micromanage and can limit chaos and increase organization within your family unit. There's an incredible resource that we will attach below as well with all of the steps of the family meeting outlined simply for you. Enjoy. Okay, I'm back with Ginny Luther, who is a master conscious discipline instructor. She was trained under Becky Bailey. We'll link all the resources below for Becky Bailey's website, Conscious Discipline. Ginny, the other day when I saw you, I was telling you how I always, ask you for tips for things going on in our family with our children. You give me so many easy tools. And the other day I was at your book signing, actually, Blue Star Grit, which we talked about in the previous episode. If you guys haven't gotten her book yet, go out and get it. The link to Amazon is below. There's an audio version. Thank you for doing that, Ginny, for those of us who love audiobooks. Go out and grab it. Such an incredible story of how you learning about conscious discipline from Becky Bailey and, weaving it into your life helped you get over the tragedy of losing your son, Bart. Such a powerful story. So go grab that book. So I was at your book signing the other morning and I said, Ginny, I know all this stuff and I get it. And this morning was just total chaos. And you asked me what was going on? What happened? I said, we get up early, we have this time, we sit around, it's very chill. And then for some reason, all hell breaks loose. And it's we're running out the door. People are forgetting their uniforms. They're forgetting their snack. They're forgetting their water. What can I do to change that? And you talked to me about a system you created under your peaceful parenting company called the family meeting. I want you to help me understand that better, and our listeners can benefit from it as well.
So this is when we have a family meeting, everybody's heard about that. If you have a teenager or you remember your own back in the teens, you're probably rolling your eyes because this means you're going to go sit down and your parents are going to kind of tell you what you're doing wrong and what you need to do right. Okay, that's not this. So the family meeting to me is the most connecting structure. Of course, you don't want to use it with children under the age of 6. They can come, but don't expect to get any problem solving because children really at that age don't really problem solve. You might say, well, let's come up with some ideas about how we're going to clean the house together. And your 5-year-old or 4-year-old just goes, well, you could just walk around with your fat butt. They'll say something like that, which is obviously not a solution. So you want to be able to include them as equal partners. So this is a very democratic process. There are guidelines around it, and it's really important that when you go in, the energy that you're bringing into the meeting is going to contribute to them feeling like they have, number one, their voice is heard, and number two, that they are part of the problem-solving process, which opens them up to taking more responsibility. Your biggest opportunity to take responsibility for your choices and anything you've come to in terms of agreements is when you're in a part of making those agreements. If someone's dictating to you the rules, chances are you're going to try to break them and get around them because you had no part in it. Your voice was never heard in any of that. And so it's really important that you have that base. So that's hard to do because usually what's happened is you've got all that stuff on the floor. You've got kids doing different things and you're running around nagging at everybody. And everybody's like, chill, Mom, I'm doing what I can do. And there's all this
Totally
chaos. And you're just like, why? Why is this happening to me? I should not have to be doing everything for everybody. So,
every morning I'm like, you're 12 and 10. Why do I have to tell you to brush your teeth in the morning? I got my own bag to pack.
Exactly. So, kids in general don't like chores any more than parents like chores. They like jobs. Jobs are meaningful to kids. But the bottom line is there's a difference between the two. A chore is something you have to do. A chore is, it's the difference between you having to clean your house and you like doing your job that you're doing right now. One is meaningful to you. The other is not, other than you want organization. The motivations are different. So it's the same with kids. They want to contribute in really valuable ways. So this is one way to contribute, is to be part of the family meeting. And you really want a sacred time that you meet every single week to practice the way to do this, to practice how to have a meeting and come to solution with something. So it involves a few steps. And the first step is, for the most part, to notice. So typically in a family meeting, we would say, okay, so here's the problem. The problem is everybody is not doing what they're supposed to do in the morning. They're all over the place. And then I have to nag you, and none of you are getting your stuff done. And because of that, I'm getting late to work. And we gotta solve this problem. This is what they're gonna do. Gonna roll their eyes, right? Here we go again. La 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 la. So that they're not gonna be set in a space of wanting to be a part of the meeting. But if I say, you know what? I've noticed something in the morning. Here's what I would like. Here's the situation. It's a problem for me. And the problem is I turn into the house monster in the morning. I think part of that is because everybody seems to be struggling to get out the door. And I feel like I should be solving that for everybody. And because I do that, I tend to start nagging, because then I get worried about getting to work on time. And then everybody leaves like in an icky, icky, icky space. We leave disconnected. We leave angry. We leave feeling frustrated. And then I feel like I've failed as a mom. I mean, that is not how I want to leave you in the morning. You hear the difference?
So much better. Yeah, so different. It's like asking for, collective advice and input and buy-in.
It's owning my feelings, owning the situation as it is what it is. It's nobody's fault. It's happening. But my response to it is I get ugly and I don't want to be the house monster. So then you would ask, that's why it's a problem for me. Is the morning routine a problem for anybody else? So you put it out there to everybody, and everybody shares how it is or isn't a problem. You might have one that says, well, it's not a problem for me. You're just you're overreacting to something I feel like I have handled, Mom. Okay, that's okay. There's no put downs. You're not going to deny. The idea is to say it's a problem for you, and everybody gets to say how it's a problem for me. So your husband might say, well, it's a problem for me because I hate seeing you so anxious. And I don't want to leave you that way. And I don't want you to go to work all anxious and fired up. That's what my husband used to say. If you're unhappy, I feel unhappy. Right. And so we share. And then from there, the person who comes with the situation says, I'd like to solve the problem and I need your help. Are you willing to help? And so if they're willing, you start brainstorming. So that's a big hump. The big hump is for everyone to be in this space of you're reflecting what you're feeling, owning what you're feeling, not blaming. There's not one time you're pointing a finger at anybody. You're owning everything. And then from there, the heart opens to want to make a different choice. Then they can start brainstorming. And when you're brainstorming, you're coming up with ideas that help everybody get out of the house in a way that's calmer, feeling connected, that gets us wherever we are on time. So the key to this part is everybody brainstorms. If you disagree with one of their ideas or anyone's ideas, you don't say anything until all the brainstorming is done. You don't say anything until all the brainstorming is done. And that's really hard to do, because as soon as you hear something you're not going to agree to, you go, well, I don't think that's going to work. Well, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, because then it sets everyone up to stop the brainstorming. The brainstorming is something that is really can be fun. It really can. They might say, well, you come up with a bunch of ideas and at the end you do some dance or something, or you play some crazy music or something. Right. So, and everybody's assigned different jobs of how to get out the door. There's so many different ideas. I mean, there's a million different ideas you can come up with. Once you brainstormed all those, then by consensus, you decide on the brainstorming you're agreeing to. And everybody's got to agree. Yes, I'm willing to have that be part of it, this be part of it, this be part of it. And then, and this is the biggest thing, what is the consequence if someone breaks their agreement? Now, you don't decide the consequence as the parent. The children decide the consequence.
You had one of these in your book where you broke it as the parent and the kids got to put you in check. And the consequence was so cute, pizza and a movie.
Pizza and a movie from Blockbuster. That's how far back we go.
Yeah.
A movie from Blockbuster.
How
but
cute.
Yeah, because my oldest said, well, okay, so that's our consequence. What about your consequence when you're not accountable? And it never occurred to me to even look how I was not accountable to them or that it even meant anything to them. Because, they were teenagers.
It's just so sweet. It's like when I read that in your book, I was like, that's one of those moments where you realize your kids are hearing what you're doing. Those roots that you're trying to create as a foundation, it's working. Like I loved seeing that for you. Yeah.
There were times we had to get pizza and video. Oh, where they were so excited. It was fun. So to this day, that carries on because if I leave them, I'm going on a plane after visiting them. My job is to call them when I get home to tell them that I'm safe or text them now. I'm safe. I don't owe you a pizza, So the idea is to try to get around owing you a pizza.
So sweet. Okay. So we got to have group consensus and we've got to have consequence if you fall out.
When you start brainstorming consequences, you want them to teach. You don't want the consequences to be motivated out of fear, right?
Okay.
So they will tend to be punitive. And that's not what you want. You want as much as possible a natural consequence, as much as possible. So let's say they're not being accountable to you or they deliberately are late getting out the door and they come up with a consequence that would be, okay, you don't get your iPad for a week. How's that going to teach them? That's not going to teach them. So you've got to come up with a consequence that's going to help them then make a decision to be more attentive. So you may even give them an extra job. Okay, so in the morning, you're going to have this, and this to do. I don't know. They'll come up with it. But a lot of times when you're doing these family meetings, people say, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, you just bring it back to the table and you try again and you try again. It's called negotiation. It's détente. This is what we want the world to do, right? Is we want to talk about it. And when it doesn't work, get together and talk some more and come up with some ideas. That's the goal. After you decide the consequence, then you sign the agreement. This is an agreement. So the brainstorming creates the agreements. What everybody votes on is the agreement. This is what we are going to do. The consequence, if you break the agreement, and then once you're done, you sign the agreement, and then you do something fun, like 5 minutes. Maybe you make sundaes, or maybe you tell jokes, or maybe you play a game, or it doesn't have to be long. But find a time of the week that you're going to do this on a sacred level. Like we did Sundays because that's when they were home and there wasn't any extracurricular things that were getting in the way of them meeting, and most teens were home because school was going to start the next day. So Sunday was a better time for us. We always did it Sunday evening.
Amazing. I love it. And just the connection and the ritual that this creates, I think is so beautiful. I'm so excited to try this. That was such an incredible step-by-step guide to family meetings. I'm so excited to do it. We're going to link in the show notes a really user-friendly, all 11 of these steps laid out along with Ginny's information. She does coaching. You can reach out to her for help and support. I highly recommend it. She's absolutely incredible. The shifts that you've helped create in our home have been life-changing for all of us. Ginny, thank you so much for your time and expertise. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I wish you well.
I hope you enjoyed that bonus episode. Go ahead and throw a like under it if you did. I would love to hear your comments and feedback. As always, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. And of course, go ahead and pass the opportunity for this bonus episode along to a friend or family member who could also use this info. Thank you.